Just for anyone who isn't able to make it live, especially with the last minute change there, I want to make sure that it's accessible. So thank you for being here for the intention setting workshop. I really was feeling called to do this, and not just by myself, because usually I will do this type of a ritual on my own. And I felt like, you know what, let's do this together. And I'm going to take you through my end of the year ritual that I do so that we can start off the new year with intention. So thanks for being here. This is a supportive space, a safe space, and I just want to take a minute to share what we're going to do. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to release 2025. We're going to do some grounding around that. We are going to really envision and spend some time envisioning what 2026 might unfold and how we want that to look and feel for ourselves. And we're going to clarify a core intention. So we're actually going to choose an anchoring word for the year. And that's something that I've done for the past several years. And it's amazing to see when you're continually checking in with that word in different moments, or you're caught at a crossroads, or you have a decision to make, and you anchor back to that word that you set for yourself. It's amazing how that can help lead you where you need to go. So we're going to do that. And if we're really good for time at the end, I do have some cards here. And if that is something that aligns with you, then I can pull a card for the people who are on live. So if that sounds good, let's get started with some breath. So put your hand on your heart and maybe the other hand on your belly and close down your eyes. Relax your jaw, relax the muscles in your face, and start to take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Do a few more like that. Slow exhale. Let go of the day and everything that came before. Really visualize yourself arriving into this space of a pause between all the chaos between Christmas and New Year's. And as you're just breathing and feeling into your body right now, maybe just scanning, notice any sensations that you feel. Scan from the top of your head. Where are you holding tension? No need to judge it, just breathe into it and try to release it a little bit. See if it can soften. How does my body want to feel moving forward? When you're ready, you can softly open the eyes. So winter is a great time for reflection. It's a time where we physically have more darkness, and it's a time that we can really look inwards and reflect on what is working and what maybe we want to change. And just like, the seasons of the weather, we also have seasons, and we need to honor that. And I think, this past year, for a lot of people, in the Chinese zodiac, it was the year of the snake. So I don't know if you've seen anything on this yet, but it was about shedding old patterns. It was about contemplation, going inwards, listening to wisdom, and shedding old ways of being, and really intentionally having like quiet growth, letting go of burdens. And maybe you're still in the process of letting go, and that that's okay. We're all human. And also, the Chinese New Year doesn't end till the mid of February. So it's still actually going on, the year of the snake, for a little bit. But this year has really been prep work for a big transformation because in 2026, at the end of February, is the year of the horse. And so the horse brings dramatic change, action, movement. It's about taking risks and new ventures, social connections, stepping into the spotlight, embracing change, and really taking decisive action. So I'm so excited for that change in energy. I can feel it intuitively that that year was truly the year of the snake, and I've shed so much and just gotten really clear about why I need to drop certain, you know, decisions, habits, patterns, relationships. And now it's like, okay, new energy is coming forward and being allowed. And whether that is in our relationships, our business, career, our health, or just our personal growth, all of that can be true. And maybe one of those things is really significant for you this year. Maybe it was really, really your health or really a relationship that you were letting go or learning different things about your shadow self. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take the next 8 minutes to reflect on 2025. So, I want you to grab your journal and your pen. I'm going to put the timer on. And I want you to, as you're reflecting, something that can help is if you have your phone handy and you can go through your camera roll, that can be a good way to remember what happened this year. Go back to January and kind of relive. And I want you to look at the good, and I want you to remember some of the harder moments too in there. And none of that is wrong. It's all human. That's what we're here to do. We're here to experience it all. And both things can be true. It doesn't mean it was a bad year or a good year. It each is going to have its moments. So I want you to look through your camera roll, or you can just kind of think through and journal through, what was that like in January? I'm going to start the clock now you can start writing as I'm speaking. But some things that I want you to think about and journal on is, okay, what were the lower moments? And with the lower moments, what was the lesson? And what were the highlights? What were some of the blessings? You're going to find it all. I'm going to let you journal for a bit. You're thinking about the lessons and how to come up with that. Think about some prompts could be, what did I overcome? What did I grow through this year? What did I learn about my energy, my capacity, my boundaries? What did I learn about my shadow self and the parts of me that are calling to be healed? What did I shed and what am I releasing, or what did I release? Once you've had some time to think about some of the lower moments in the lessons, make sure to go through the highlights. So, what am I proud of myself for? What moments felt the most aligned, like I was most myself this year? Got 3 more minutes. Sometimes it's healing to just write. Even if you don't know what to write, just start writing and see what comes up. There's 2 more minutes. You might start to notice when you lay out the highlights, there might be a common theme to the things that made you feel aligned and alive and happy. And that's a good clue of what we need to invite more of. All right. We're going to start to come out of that journaling, and I want you to keep in mind and just look at what you've written so far and the different lessons that you've identified. And maybe there's some things where you're like, I still don't know what the lesson of that hardship was. And just write the question, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn from this? And just have the question written down. And I bet as you're going through your day, something might come up. There might be an epiphany that comes up. But right now, what I want to do is I want to take us through a short visualization where we are going to release what we don't need and what doesn't serve us from the last year. So if you can close down your eyes again, get comfortable, feel comfortable where you're sitting. And I want you to envision all of what you've experienced in 2025, the good, the bad, And I want you to lovingly siphon those experiences into a box. So, what does that box look like? Have a vision of it. What color is it? What texture? And just keep putting those experiences into that box. And when you're ready, you're going to close the lid on that. Maybe you wrap a ribbon around it. Maybe it has a special lock. And then what we're going to do is we're going to envision that we're going to send that box away, maybe to a higher power. And that box is going to transform into something beautiful. So, what does your box transform into? All right. So, come on out of that. We are releasing what doesn't serve us and what we don't need moving forward. And we're going to keep the good. And now we're going to set an intention for 2026. So we're going to come up with a word and an anchor. Maybe this is something you already have kind of thought of and you have an idea. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to start envisioning what we want to experience in 2026. And as you go through that visualization, just notice the themes that come up and keep that in mind because it's going to help you to create that anchor afterwards. All right. So I want you to imagine that it is a year from now. So it's actually December, the end of December 2026. And I want you to think about what you've experienced the past year. So if you just close down your eyes, and I want you to think about what do you want to feel more of? We're coming into January, February, the rest of the winter. Think about your health. What do you want that to look like? The habits, the daily little things that we do and choose. What feels aligned moving forward? What about in relationships? Whether that's with a partner, children, friends. See yourself having the types of relationships that you desire. And what does that feel like? What do I want to experience more of? What identity am I stepping into? What do I want to build to nurture my work, my business, my career, my success, my finances? How do I want my home to feel or look when I come home from work, when I put the kids to bed and have the house to myself? Take yourself through the whole year through the spring, summer? Are there any vacations you want to take? Who do you want to spend time with, and where do you want to be? The fall, and then back to the winter. How do you want to feel at the end of December next year? At any time you're ready, write down some of the visions that you're having. Where do you want to see movement this year? In what parts of your life are you going to take decisive action? And how would it feel if you did? As you're writing, notice if there's any words that keep repeating, like joy or abundance, love, growth, confidence, security, success. What is most important to you? What's calling to you most? And as you're writing, you're going to try to choose a word, your word for the year. So, based on what you've envisioned, what you really want to experience most this year, what is most important for your soul to grow through and to feel. And when we choose a word, we really want to think about what that definition is and what it will look like in all aspects of our life. So you want to choose something that can apply not only to, let's say, relationships, but also to health, to career, finances, business, and you personally. Once you have that word, feel free to unmute if you're comfortable and share, or you can write it in the chat. Sherry says growth. I love that. Growth is a really powerful word. I've had that word before. Growth, Angie. Ooh, I love that you guys are choosing growth. Growth comes with a bit of a warning, though, because when we choose growth, we are choosing to overcome aspects of ourselves, patterns, and it is amazing and it is beautiful, and that's what's required for growth. So just be prepared with that word and everything it entails. Be prepared to, with growth comes overcoming obstacles. But it's beautiful, and that's what you're being led to. That's what you're being called to. I've had that word before. So once you have your word, I want you to write these separate headings in your journal. So you're going to leave space. You're going to write relationships, and you're going to leave space. And depending on your world, you may want to categorize that. Like for myself, I put relationships, so then I put parenting as one of that, and then partnerships and friendships. So to me, I kind of want to think of all three of those things and how I want to show up and what I want to do. So relationships, and then you're going to do career or finances, business as another heading, leave space, and then health, space, and then personal. So relationships, career, finances, health, personal. And you're going to think about in each of those areas, how does that word apply? What does growth look like? What does growth look like in each of those aspects? And if you can identify an action, like what's one action you want to do in that, circle it. So for instance, my friendships, my word is alignment this year. And for me, friendships in alignment show that we have mutual respect for each other. Everyone feels seen and heard, and we spend time together and have like a deeper connection. So my action is to host more gatherings where we can get together. So growth in relationships, that's an interesting one, right? Because what will that require? What will that look like? And then growth in career and finances. How does growth in your health look like? And then personally, when you're thinking in the personal category, you're thinking, okay, outside of my job, outside of my friendships or my partnership, or being a mom, outside of my self-care routine, what am I doing that lights me up? What gives me the spark of joy? My hobbies, my passions, what lights my soul up? And that's what you need to write in personal about. So far, I think so often we forget about that completely. So what would that look like? I don't know if you've ever read the book by James Clear called Atomic Habits, but he has a quote in there that says, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." So our systems in our habits of what we're doing every day when we get out of bed, what time we get up, and what happens from there. How does that routine look? What is in the fridge? What is in the pantry? How are we managing our time and our calendar? How much are we scrolling, rolling, escaping? All that time that could be used in a way that's actually going to help us go to our goals. So it's not the actual goal itself, having one, it's how are we set up to reach that success? So that's really important to think about. How am I actually going to integrate this intention with action? What's that going to look like? Start small. What's one small thing I can do just to get 1% better at this, to achieve 1% of a more fulfilling whatever it is that you're looking to grow. But also, it's like when we talk about systems, it's also what is our patterns of thought? So our point of power is always in the present moment. It's not in last year, it's not in the past, it's not in our traumas, it's not in that. It's our present right now and how we choose to move through our triggers, recognize when we're wrong, take accountability, grow through those things. And we all have automatic negative thoughts, or ants, automatic negative thoughts. And becoming aware of that is so powerful because our words create worlds, right? And our words come from our feelings and our thoughts. So if we can get a hold of that, become more aware of the things we're saying to ourselves, especially those big limiting beliefs that come up. A lot of us have a not enough story. A lot of us have a lot of stories that kind of keep us stuck, like, oh, no one ever shows up for me, or I always fail, I always screw it up, I'm never enough, I'm never chosen. Like, those are so human and like so powerful if we can be like, aha, there it is. And is that true? So one thing I do want to mention about setting new intentions is that the universe will test you, because it's like, are you sure you want to change? Are you sure? And so you might be faced with a trigger where you're like, I really am trying to live this way, but why is this happening? That makes me just want to go back. And it's going to be you choosing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing the higher road right now. I'm noticing that I am triggered. I'm noticing that I'm angry or irritable about this situation or whatever. And I'm choosing to rise above it. And I'm going to this way because my word is alignment. And I know what I need to feel like and act like to be aligned, right? I know what I need to feel like and act like to feel growth that I'm looking for. So you will be tested, and these things are delayed too. You're not going to see things all at once. You're going to see like a delay, like 3 months from now, the work that you're doing, grinding to change those habits, then you're going to be like, okay, I'm getting into a groove. The universe believes me. I'm continuing to choose, even though I'm being challenged. One thing that can really help anchor you to your intention through the year is to keep a jar. And when one of the years, my word was joy. And so I kept a joy jar. And I wrote out anytime I felt like a spring of joy, something joyful happened, I wrote it out in a little piece of paper, put it in my joy jar. So you could have a growth jar, you can have an alignment jar. Where are the moments where you're like, I am growing. Look at me growing. And that can keep you aligned. So what I want to do to close it up, because I only have 4 minutes before this meeting close, unfortunately, is we're going to end with a closing breath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you each a card afterwards. Everyone who's come on live, if you don't want a card just right now, say just no thanks. But otherwise, I will message you your own. I'll pull a card for you and I'll send it your way. So we're just going to end with some closing breath. So hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Let your shoulders soften. Unclench your jaw. Take a slow breath in through your nose and imagine that you're inhaling peace. Exhale gently through your mouth, releasing anything you don't need to carry forward. It's not coming with you. And again, inhale peace. Inhale your intention for 2026. Your word, your feeling. And exhale, letting it settle into your body. This year doesn't have to be perfect. it gets to be intentional. And trust that this year has the potential to be your very best year yet. Because you're walking in with awareness, support, and in partnership with your higher power, your guides. Take one final slow breath in and a soft breath out. And when you're ready, gently come back and thank yourself for showing up, for taking this pause, this moment to reflect and set intention. I'm so honored that you guys showed up to do this with me. And if you have anything you want to share, we've got 2 minutes. Would love to hear if there was anything in particular that you released or are inviting and you feel called to share. Thank you for being on, ladies. I'm going to pull some cards for each of you, and I'll send it over to you in Messenger. Okay? All right. Have a great night. Bye.